is quiet.
Yeah, I was interrupted.
Track one down.
Well, it's one, you know, when,
No, I thought there was a little one in one of the classrooms. In my regular double bag that I always bring, I have a laminated one that I can always get a lot on the spot. I don't have that tonight.
yeah, do a quick check.
I
We'll
can
see.
walk real quick.
Yeah.
It's too close.
I know. No, it's available. That's available. Whichever one works.
Great.
Do I want the what? Really, but I can take them. So then I gotta figure out how to get it.
We have seats up here. We've got seats here. Seats over there. Rich is going to end up speaking half the evening, so he won't be there for very long. No. Good evening and welcome. Can you all please rise for a Pledge of Allegiance? Appropriate stout salute or a hand over heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Scout sign. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, keeping myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2, please be seated. Welcome again. I think I know everybody in the room, but for those who don't, my name is Carlos Ignacio. I'm the District Commissioner, like Sergeant, our Roundtable Commissioner, and newly minted Assistant District Commissioner, as of the rechartering process going through for everybody. For those that are not aware, the national system gives basically the registrar until the end of February to get all the paperwork processed. You know, we worked real hard to try and get all the recharters done in November, December, and then all the work's, getting it all into the system is on the registrar's hands. So she's got a little while to make all that happen. But if you didn't get it in time, you're now no longer a unit. Your access to My Dad Scouting and Scout Book, of course, is gone. So, you have that situation, please see Roger and I. We can see what we can do to get you corrected, or any issues along that line. All right, so let's work our way around the room. Let's see here. I know Nick's speaking after Rich, so okay. I don't have a whole lot of program people, training people. I have finance. Hey, finance, how's finance doing?
Finance is doing good.
You want to come on up here and be in front of the camera?
Sure.
For those that are interested, it's going to be, we'll put it on the Facebook page and whatever else, but right now it's YouTube Live right now.
All right, finance, Friends of Scouting. We're up over 43% to our goal. Almost $16,000 raised. Still need dates from a couple of units. So if your unit has not had its FOS scheduled, please do so. Camp card report. Brian?
All right, so camp cards, they came in record time this year. They have already been received. They're actually on the back table for anybody who has not picked them up yet. Roger has been loaning his van for the last week and passing them out. So thank you, Roger. really now it's all about getting out there, selling them. If anybody has any questions on how you could get more out, my unit, I tend to give each scout a handful. Our pack, we started at 10. Most scouts sold all 10, no big deal. So we started doing 20. We get some of them returned to us, but we say you don't have to sell them all. And that's something where, you could return it to us. And we do it early enough so that we can still set up a show and sell and get those out or return them to council so another unit can use them. And then retail locations, you name it, places around here other than Carnes. Really, Carnes doesn't want to give you giving $5 to everybody right out front, but they want to bring them in from other places. So Tractor Supply, even though they're no longer on the card, they will still allow you to set up a table out front. Ace Hardware, Peachtree Restaurant, you name it. Go to places, they're usually willing to help out scouts. So if you ever need any help with setting up a location, feel free to shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever. And, I'm more than happy to help. But so our camp cards go until the first week of June. So we have plenty of time. I don't know what the Harrisburg numbers are. I think there's about 2,000 or so cards remaining that are unaccounted for. So if your unit hasn't placed an order yet, please do so. There's plenty of other cards. The only difference really with the card is going to be Carnes wouldn't be on there if we run out of those. But other than that, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions about camp cards or the camp card sale this year? Yeah.
Quick observation.
Sure.
Our unit asked the grocery outlet, who's one of the break-offs on the Harrisburg card in Palmyra, and they're allowing us to set up. Now we have to set up our own pop-up in the corner of the. We can't set up in front of the store, but
right.
For the Hershey units, pretty close.
Well, what better setup is there? That's why Tractor Supply was so great. You could set up and say, here's $5, go in there, you get your money right back right now.
There's grossed out down in York, and I think it's one in Mechanicsburg. But
Yeah.
Palmyra one, perfect.
Let me just pull the room really quick. What are some of the other locations you guys use? Anybody care to share, or do we want to keep our keeping it close to the vest?
I think 1019 is going to the Bass Pro.
Okay.
They're trying to set up with first day of trout season.
Okay. That's smart. Now, do you do hot dogs as well?
I don't know what they're planning.
So I will tell you, this is something I've learned in the, what is it, going on 2 years now with the camp cards. It's, if you're selling hot dogs, people are buying the hot dogs, but not necessarily buying the camp cards. So if you can do like a deal where it's the card and the hot dog, great. But what I'm finding out personally is that people are buying the hot dogs and not the cards. So you're not helping council. You're not, you're helping your unit, but that's not the intent of the camp card sale. So.
Also oddly saw that like the little scouts that are even the little guys that are in the troop.
Yeah.
We were at Tractor Supply and two older scouts kindly say, hey, would you like to buy a card? No, are you sure you want to buy a card? They got around the little one say buy a card, they bought a card. So
I do find
Oddly
the
enough,
little
that
scouts,
marketing
the popcorn, it doesn't matter if if we sell them for $50, it's those young scouts
Yeah,
sell.
so
I get it.
leverage that.
Yeah, so keep doing that. My unit even uses the card readers just because a lot of people don't carry cash. And I've had some people just $50 and $100 at a time because you accept the ability to accept a card. We're not going to endorse what card reader to use, but that is something we found that's been highly successful. My unit sold 2,000 cards last year. That's a lot, not to brag, but most other units are kind of in a couple $100. And from what I'm finding out is either we're selling hot dogs or we're selling something else with it. That's not the intent of the camp card sale. But the card readers too, that really helps pick up business that you might not have otherwise. So any other questions or points? Okay.
Great, you said, Brad. Yeah. All right. Hershey Friends of Scouting Breakfast, April 10th at the Hershey Lodge. Looking to raise about $63,000 there. And the guest speaker is the coach of the Calder Cup champion Hershey Bears. Harrisburg breakfast, has that been confirmed?
June 27th at the Sheridan, Hershey, Harrisburg, Hershey, by Chick-fil-A.
Right, but the speaker?
Just yesterday.
Well, I can do my part. I don't know about the other. The honoree for the Good Scout breakfast is going to be Terry Davis, and he's actually a longtime scouter. He actually beats me in age, which is not happening too often anymore. But yeah, he worked at scout camp, I think, in the '60s, and very positive about it. And he also is a sports memorabilia nut, and literally gives away about 100,000 sports memorabilia a year. And there's a chance that we're going to be doing a silent auction with some of that at the breakfast.
Great.
He wants to do. We haven't pinned him down exactly on what his meaningful contribution is, but he wants to do a match type gift to motivate other people. So
Fabulous.
really works like. I don't know, but the other one definitely.
It's 99%.
Okay. The other one's right now is going to be giant, and we just said I think we're very close, but it's not 100%.
Terrific. Thank you, Chip. So again, Hershey Friends of Scouting Breakfast, April 10th. And the Harrisburg one is June 27th at the Sheridan. Carlos,
Thank you so much.
back to you.
Appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to try and muddle through with kind of the program aspects of things. So from a council level, we have the University of Scouting on March 23rd at Lower Dolphin High School for, I think we're into late processing, are we not? Yeah, we're in a late processing at this point for that. We have, we're consuming quite a bit of, well, at least of 2/3 of the middle school with a whole bunch of classes and so on and so forth. So by all means, there's still room for you to join us on that date and add a few more things to your toolkit for your particular position. So by all means, look at Tenaroo. You have a complete course catalog there to help out with whatever you're trying to do in scouting in one of your multiple hats. Let's see. Then we have the next one is Merit Badge College, and that is now open for youth registration. Okay, so we had a little hiccup on Wednesday. Got it taken care of today. So registration is now open for the badges. A little less offering than I had hoped as a function of badges, but most of the core Eagle ones that we wanted to try and offer are being offered. Thanks to those that are some people in the room are actually here that are actually instructing. So I appreciate that helping out. So we were able to get it taken care of. We had to solicit merit badge instructors from the entire council to get it all squared away. But we did that and have that all taken care of. So have your youth sign up and get them registered and get your blue cards processed and all that good stuff. Spring Camporee is well underway as a function of planning and getting all that squared away. Help me out, Roger, dates, Spring Camporee. I'm sure it's probably behind you, actually. The next screen. Next screen. Next screen. There we go. All right. So, yeah, 26, 28. Okay. We have an IOS training. Can I move that back? We'll behave or not. Oh, well, I can do that. All right. So we have Wood Badge if you're interested in doing that. We're having our first meeting with all the participants this weekend. So if you want to get involved in Wood Badge, by all means, now is the time to pull that off. Obviously, I'll say the OA stuff, but we have blue training for the Cubs. So if you need to try and add that to your feather, so you can go camping with your cubs, by all means, get set up for that. And if you're interested in instructing for that, please get a hold of either Mark, get a hold of Mark to get that taken care of. He's also looking for a chef, quote unquote, someone who's certified to properly handle foods and so on and so forth. It's not really a chef because they're only doing 12 packs, but because of council, all the red tape, we have to have somebody who's got the necessary training. But so if you have somebody who can pull that off, that would be fantastic. Again, contact Mark to make that arrangement process taken care of. I think that's the big stuff there. And then on to May, the council recognition dinner. We've announced, well, I'm not going to show Chip's thunder. I'll let you do it when so we're honoring two individuals. Our camp director for Twilight Camp, Amanda Eschenauer, is being, and Erica Frank, who is our popcorn district colonel, are being awarded the District Award of Merit. So please come out and congratulate them on their efforts and all. And with these awards, it's not traditionally always the what you accomplished. It's what you're going to accomplish in the future. So thank them for their previous service, as well as encouraging them for their future service as we go through this process. And then, of course, at that, you'll also see the new minted silver beavers, which is the council level recognition for efforts done at the council level. So by all means, that's a tuck-a-ho. That's an evening kind of thing where you kind of dessert type stuff. So details are on the council webpage if you want to try and join us for that. Let's see here. And I'm going to force that forward a little bit. And of course, the second part of Mirabedge College. And then, and another balloon at the very, very end. Obviously, advancements are going well. We got legal boards going on concurrently with this particular meeting. And let's see what else I'm missing from a program standpoint. I know you will. NYLT, if you have, if you're youth, it's really, if you don't know what NYLT is, it's basically a wood badge for the youth. And again, we've talked about wood badge a lot at this type of meeting. But basically, it's a focused training event on making your youth leadership that much better. Okay, and it's basically a week of intense, how to do it right type process for Scouts BSA. So if you've got some Scouts that they do need to have the Introduction to Scout Leadership training done and certified by either the Scoutmaster or have gone to the University of Scouting has that option. So by all means, if you're interested in that, sign up for that. I think that's all I've got off the top of my head. Okay, as well as thank you, Mike, for setting all of the slides because that makes it a whole lot easier. Any questions on all of the stuff that I just covered there? Sweet. All right, Jim.
Quite a bit today to hopefully stop some rumor mills that are going on. And I know that the scouting rumor mills go faster than a lot of things. Recently, our district chair meeting, there are 3 council staff reductions that have occurred to try to get the budget close to being balanced. They got rid of the Exploring Scout Reach and the York office, the registrar down there. So they are trying everything they can do to make do with less here, and it's going to be a little more push on our professionals, because all those jobs get divvied out then to the remaining.
And our council registrar, which is now
right.
a solo act.
And they were very excited about. They were down to a $58,000 anticipated shortfall, and they figured if they run lean this year, they would make it, and then they got their insurance policy for the renewal, and all of us are living that. I apologize, it's my field, but this has been a miserable year for insurance across the board in property and your auto. Nationally, auto's gone up 21%, the average. So it's really bad. Well, the bottom line is our camp insurance policies are covering all our buildings, et cetera. It went up $80,000. Okay. So they have done a lot of stuff. They've raised the deductible. I think they're looking at $25,000 now as a council deductible, and done everything they can. They brought the increase down to 40. So as you can imagine, we're still struggling financially this year. I think things are going to get better in the future, but we still just need to get out of the low scouting numbers and get on our feet again here. All registration work, and this really doesn't affect our probably for most people doesn't affect most of our units. Most of us probably went to Mechanicsburg already, but if you ever did any registration work or any Eagle packets to the York office, maybe you work down there, they are all going now to the Mechanicsburg office, okay? Hidden Valley, they scratched week 5. I think they had 21 to 23 scouts signed up and decided that was not the best use of money. And I think there was 4 units, and they've hopefully got them realigned in the other weeks or situated otherwise. And my understanding is Tiger Camp was moved up, so that the staff they just moved it so the staff would go right into that. The district annual meeting, we all know, is our.
I'm sorry, do you have the new date for Tiger Camp?
Excuse me?
Do you have the date for Tiger Camp?
I don't, but we
Okay,
can find it for
Just
you.
literally subtract 1 week.
Yeah.
Just literally subtract 1 week, because it's the way it was engineered last.
Okay.
I think it's already e-news article on Tiger.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till right now.
Okay, no, yeah, it just happened. And the summer camp staff hiring right now is actually lagging again this year. So honestly, and I don't know, as a parent, it's sort of neat if you had family vacation that you could still take your son or daughter on vacation if they worked on camp staff. I think it's getting a little more opportune because if you worked on the Hidden Valley camp staff, you were done definitely in July. So, that's changed the dynamic a little bit. So if you have any scouts that you think would be awesome staff members, have them get in touch with Todd Widener and go through the interview process. I mean, we all can help on that. Property or Tuckahoe, they stopped the surveying for a few-week period. Unfortunately, one of the subcontractors to the surveyors that were hired by the Conservancy found a parcel that was not registered and did a quiet deed or on the thing. So they basically put their name on a piece of property that was in the middle of the camp. And
The surveyor did that?
yeah, ethically, this sounds definitely on the edge, and I know they're looking at that, but so they regrouped, and I think they're trying to get that all situated.
They can lose their license over that.
Yeah, they have licensure. I know
They filed a complaint.
this sadly has happened more times at Tuckahoe than you'd be surprised. But anyways, so that was with that. So that slowed that up a little bit. And let's see. I don't know if anybody heard, but there was an investor that had put an offer on Hidden Valley, and the board had Ron go and talk to him. He's a developer, and that's not going anywhere. So just if you heard that rumor mill, that is a dead in the water, at this point. And I think that's pretty much it. Is there any questions, if anybody? Okay, there has been a lot going on. Ron is, I can't imagine being the scout executive. I mean, he's been sweating budgets every single year for a long time now. And, everything we can do to help. I mean, I know when I'm a scoutmaster, I'm really not worried about what's going on
necessarily a council, but you know, this is a reality they're living with. It's a reality that Roger's got to live with because there's more stuff put on his shoulders also, you know, just to make it go in our council. So, any other questions?
So,
Yes.
I mean, are they planning now operationally because of the reduction of the registrar? Because that is probably one of the biggest pain points. That would probably have been the last position that I would have eliminated. So now what we're going to do is, you know, we were split, and now we're going to have one person doing everything.
Well,
I mean, this
last year, the pain point was we didn't really have a trained, in my understanding.
correct. But
We had
just so you
changed.
know, this is being talked about now. I mean, I
Yeah.
read it in some other forums. Like I just read a huge thing of people complaining all around the country about this. I mean, this is something that scouting as a whole this needs to be fixed, and I feel like we just made it worse for
I think in
everybody.
that situation, it was a personnel issue where the person didn't want to move out of the office of York.
All right.
And that honestly is slated, if everything continues the way it's going, it looks like it's going to settle by the end of May.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, we
I
got
mean,
till
I
November.
don't think it would have been, I mean, hey, we're gunning for the registrar. It was, this
No,
person
it's
said-
a business decision. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that we need to come up with an operational plan so
I
we can
agree.
go smoothly.
well, and registration's going to change again.
Yeah, for all of you, the best thing you can do and to make it smoother is to use online registration for your youth. Stop trying to process paper. You want it done? Do it. Make it happen. Be your own units. Get rid of the paper and do it electronically.
We have a heck of a time with online registration. Stuff gets stuck. We can't get the things out. Paper works because we can hand it from one to the other, and we have a heck of a time with online registration. I don't know if it's the way we're registered, I don't know if it's the way we're signed up, but things go off to la la land. People fill out. I had a rejoin last year. We sent a form off. They sent a form off. It never results in an application. We finally wrote down the application and turned it into council. So nice to say, but we need help on making this happen.
Okay. There is a process that where you within the system between the scoutmaster and the cub master, the two of you can get together and transfer a scout and promote a scout from point A to point B. Okay, without doing a bunch of paper. But because you're talking about going from one program to the next program, it is a multi-step process. For the cubs, it's just having the parents do it, and they can do it relatively straightforwardly. You know, we can make QR codes for everybody. I don't know if all of you know, but you can go into my.scouting and you have a QR code, and they can go right to your joining youth application process, and they just type it in and they're good to go. That's pretty solid. I can get a commissioner with you and work through the process and try and make it smoother for that process. So we can get that corrected. Just honestly email me, because I'll be honest, I'll forget this function of everything that I'm doing. But let me know, and I'll be more than glad to sit down and get a commissioner to sit down with you and go through the process. Anybody else had any problems with youth application processing? Okay, but that's the easiest way to reduce from a manpower standpoint, because at this point, when you do it online, the registrar never touches it. Period. End of story. It never happens. No manpower is expended as a function of that process.
You guys still do some kind of processing, right?
No.
We did online, 2 years ago, and everything was delayed. I was locked out of my scouting.
They have to have background stuff, right?
Now, that's for youth. When we start talking about
I'm talking the rechartering process.
that's a whole different
Right, but the
ballgame.
registrar processes all of that, right?
Okay, so
That's what my point was about.
The-
You got till November.
okay, part of it is because we live in the state of Pennsylvania, quite frankly, and the national system is just that, built on a national system. Okay, it does not understand the intensity of RPA background check system. Okay, many other states don't go through the level of process that we have to go through for each and every one of our adults. Okay, so for us, we must, which is why you can't do an adult application in the state of Pennsylvania. There's not a council that I know of that has the adult application switch turned on, because we have to go through that. Now, there's hope that because we've got a new chief executive that's technology based, and we just hired literally a brand new CIO, something like that, chief information officer, that hopefully they can make some simple tweaks. The simple tweak that we've been asking for is that when a new adult is added, they're added in a suspended state. Okay, just like if your youth protection ran out, where the council just turns you off for a little while until you get your youth protection taken care of, you would be added in this suspended state that we can go ahead and then verify all your clearances and do all that stuff, and we don't have to do all the other nonsense that has to happen as a function of adding you as an adult to the system. Hopefully, but I have no idea where it's on a roadmap. That's just a suggestion and a recommendation that we've made to count the national, in along with all the other, Pennsylvania councils and whatever else. But it's probably on a long list of. Oh, it'd be nice if you had a list. But so for that, and this affects both the adult application process and the recharter process. That means that a person has to review every single document or verify that every single adult has all their necessary documents in place for recharter as well as new applications. So we have to do that way. So the adult applications have to be on paper, and the recharter effectively requires human intervention. That is true nationwide. You can hit a button, and the recharters just process. They just post. Okay? Not a person has to worry about it or touch it in the function of the council office. But in Pennsylvania, we can't do that because we have to check all those documents that the system can't handle. It's just the way it is. Obviously, when we start talking about what the new recharter looks like, and I'm not afraid to do that anymore. I was really trying to be hesitant and bite my tongue because we were still in the recharter process and what it's going to look like coming forward. Okay, coming forward, I'm rechartering your unit. I'm not recharting any one of you. I'm rechartering your unit come December 31. I'm going to ask you for $100 for your, well, assumingly they don't change between now and August, but I'm going to ask you for $100 for your unit. I'm going to ask him for $100 for his unit, so on and so forth. Was he? Oh, he's a generous guy. Generous guy. So, and that's all I'm doing. I'm worrying about your unit. I'm worrying about the people in the positions, right? So make sure you have enough, your COR, your committee chair, your unit leader, the appropriate number of den leaders, all of that stuff. And I'm going to make sure that they're current, but that's it. I'm not worrying about renewing their membership. Okay? I'm worrying about the unit. Membership's going to be kind of keeping two pieces apart because so much, particularly on the Cubs side of the equation, the membership side is going to renew, well, half of it's going to renew come September. Because you have all the new Cubs coming on and the renewal of the last year's Cubs all being added to your system, right? They're all renewing in September or October. So half the pack's going to be renewed already. The other half the pack is still on the December 31st date, but that's, an individual renewal process. Okay.
Yeah, but when there did change, there was going to be an option that you could elect to still do it.
And there will be.
Okay. So you
Okay.
can still do it as a unit.
Yeah, for the Cub, for the troop, you always want to do it as a unit, have a good time. For the next couple of years, it probably won't be a problem for you to do it as a unit come December 31. For the PACs, it's not something I'm going to recommend as a district commissioner. You're going, why? Well, because you're doing recharter 5 times a year. Who's renewing in August? Raise your hands. Oh, hey. Oh, you were doing in August? Yeah, I need your membership money. Oh, you were in September? Oh, good. And running around the room, collecting all your memberships every single month, depending upon when they got added to the system.
Yeah, but keep in mind that we're focusing on the dues going to council, but we also have dues. So no matter what, they're doing that.
I
Unless
understand.
You're gonna start taking money back to the units, which you're not. You know what I mean? So they can go pay something on their own, but you still gotta collect the dues to cover the unit. So
No,
you're
and I-
paying it no matter what.
I do. The question, of course, is: are you going to do that once a year, or are you going to do that 5 times or 6 times a year? A lot of manpower to try and chase down people on a 5, depending upon how you're doing the membership. Okay, if you still, as a PAC, say, okay, our members, our dues for our unit are due November 1. Okay, and you go to everybody in the room and say, okay, here's my membership dues for November 1. Your individual membership, so long as you're going to be a member of scouting, you just process that online when it becomes due. And just like your youth protection expires as an adult, you're going to get that 90-day out, that 60-day out, the 30-day out message, unless you, again, flip that switch as a unit and do it that way. That's, again, your option. But with having all these varying dates as a PAC, it's a lot of work for a treasurer, and it's a lot of ask for a volunteer as a function of process. So, troops, or Scouts PSA, you want to do it for the next couple of years? As your arrow of lights are probably still on 12/31, you might have an outlier. Your Webelos will probably still be on the 12/31 type date. And the Bears probably are still on at 12/30. You probably got 2 or 3 years till you start having that trickle in process of getting the ones we just took in August and September. Once you start seeing them, then you might have to reevaluate whether you turn that off from a unit standpoint and make it an individual standpoint. You kind of process it the old way, but not really, because it's 2 different transactions to us. Roger and I will be out there doing the same thing we've always done as a function of collecting the recharters and getting your unit stuff taken care of, and your FOS dates and your OA election dates, and where you're going to camp, and all of that good stuff that we do. But we won't be worrying about the individual membership piece at that point. That'll be a separate transaction you'll have to run to a council service center for, or otherwise, however you want to handle that. Answer all your questions as a function of that?
Can you consider, it's like that statement just says, hey, you know how you're doing all this work? We're going to add another step. I would consider, as council, looking at setting something up with the person at registration that we can somehow process something around that time, instead of making somebody have to go to council, to the service center.
So you want, and this is honestly, this is right at me. So this is right at me. So you want to be able to renew your membership at the recharter table as well.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Because we would because that, from our effectiveness, right? We're going to do things the same way.
Okay.
Now the effective process is
Yeah.
different because we're completing one function here.
Yeah.
And then we're completing this function here.
Okay.
And if we're a mess, we do the recharter, and then that's on us. We have
Okay.
to do it. If we have that option, it streamlines things.
I'll tell you what, I will do that this year. Okay. So for November,
It's just a suggestion. You
No.
don't need to commit to it right now.
I will do it this year at our recharter turn-in. Okay. If you're the only one who shows up with money, it probably won't happen again.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's what's going to happen. Honestly, Roger and I spend 2.5 months, roughly, okay, chasing down charters and chasing down money. Okay. Half the people don't come, more than half the people, maybe even a third of the people don't come to our recharter turn-ins to turn in the money. Okay. And we end up doing pop-up ones all over the place. We've done it at Giant, we've done it at Panera, we've done it at Sheets, wherever. We just, and blast out to the individuals who are still pending. We're going to be here. Come join us. And we get 1 or 2. We do. We get 1 or 2 that show up. But that's it. Okay. And in some cases, it's just, how do I? Okay. Class is in session. And we go do it. Right. But, I've got no problem trying to handle the 2 transactions. 1 more transaction, not a problem. Not a big deal to handle membership. Take your money for membership. Okay. But I'll be honest. Gotta be
You've done good for 2 years.
okay.
Good attest.
All right. But that's the point. We're volunteers. I manage my manpower as anybody else does. Okay. And I'll say we'll do that for this year, but it's got to be there. We got to have the paperwork. We got to have when we do that initial, not the workshop, because I'll try and do that again. Although that turned out really ugly, but I'll try and do that again so that people who don't understand the process, particularly since we're talking about a new process again this year. But the actual turn-in date, I'll have the ability for you guys to turn in membership unless Ron says I can't, or Tom says I can't. Then my hands are tied. But you get the idea. All right. I think I'm done. Michael, you take care of this. You're the roundtable commissioner.
Alrighty.
No, of course not.
Nah, nobody wants to hear you, Roger. Sorry. Love you, Roger. Give me a minute. I do have an announcement. I was going to do an OA announcement, but that's okay. You missed me earlier, but that's okay.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
I had an eagle over there, and I was presenting. So, real quick, not just chapter, but lodge update for the OA. We are winding down the election season. I think we have 3 units still left that are scheduled. Craig, one is yours. We got you on the list coming up, I think, plus 2 others. So anybody else that has not reached out to me at this point, I've marked you declined because our calendar is full. I can only get the chapter officers available because the youth are involved in a lot of activities. And we've been asking for over 3 months now for election dates for many of the units that were interested. And I think we've held, we're going to come in around 14 unit elections, which is actually less than, we'll have more decline this year than we actually had held an election this year. That's the first that I've seen that in several years. I've been the chapter advisor, that's all right. A lot of units didn't have the eligible youth this year and stuff, and I understand that, but there were a lot of units that didn't get back to us this year. So unfortunately, we're at the point where we have to shut it down at the end of March, and we just don't have the time on the calendar anymore to fit any more elections in. Our schedules are full. So 3 units coming up. We're going to wrap those up. I think we're sitting around 20 some, I think scouts that have been elected so far from our chapter. We will be doing a call out ceremony coming up at the Spring Camp Re like we've done in past years. Again, the Spring Camp Re is going to be out at Hunters and Anglers, so relatively close to here. I encourage units that have individuals that were elected this year to sign up so they can be recognized in front of everybody in the district and get called out properly. The only little oddball thing this year is the April induction is actually taking place before the Spring Camp Re and the call out. So there will be possibly some scouts getting called out that are already wearing their ordeal sash because they will have already gone through their April induction, which that's okay. It's not a problem, but kind of a little backwards than the way we normally would like to do it, but it's just where things fell on the calendar this year. So we had our spring fellowship this past weekend with a great turnout. Over 50 airmen were present for that. I think we had eight or so converted to Brotherhood, several from our chapter converted to Brotherhood members. That was great. We had our chapter meeting here tonight, as you maybe saw. I think we had 6 airmen here, including our 3 chapter officers and one of our lodge officers. So it was a good turnout there. They have some things planned coming up for outings. The chapter chief will be sending an email out probably in the next couple of days, hopefully, about what's planned for this month, as well as the call out coming up in April, and then one more outing in May. So lots of opportunities for your youth to get involved with the chapter or even at the lodge level. Again, we've got inductions coming up in April, May, and August. We've got conclave coming up beginning of June. There's been some stuff going on and being sent out about NOAC. Anybody that was interested in attending the National Word of the Arrow Conference this year, that's kind of on hold right now with where the registrations stand and everything. We only have a limited number of spots that have been given to us as of this point or granted to us with our reservation. We're trying to get more. Chip, I assume no word in the last how many hours I've spoke to you. So
Must have been on Monday, but
yeah, so we're hoping to get at least a dozen or so more spots, hopefully opened up, but we just haven't heard anything, unfortunately, yet with that. So that's kind of at a standstill right now. So I think that's everything I have from the 08 update. Chip, do you have anything else?
Adults that are coming in this year? Or is there anybody hung up on how to do that?
For adult nominations?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any come through for our chapter yet. I've only seen a handful of adults that were entered, and I don't believe any were from our district.
I'm
So
concerned about that, gentlemen, honestly. We've had 2 years where I don't think we've had adults out of our district. And that means that, we're not getting adults that are in the unit. And if you're already in the OA, that's one thing. But, if you have new adults coming in that meet the requirements and you've had an election, you can put them in. And that's something that we do need to do, because without the adults there, the youth aren't going to be.
yeah, well, you just need the 15 camping nights, just like a youth would need in the last 2 years, with 5 nights from summer camp max. Excuse me. Otherwise, if you have any youth or any adults that are eligible, it's great. You would have received an email from the Lodge Master system if you had any youth elected that would have a link in there to go in and submit any eligible adults. When you click on that, that's specific to your unit. It will tell you how many adults that you can nominate. It's a 2/3 rule now. So for every 3 youth that were elected, you can put 2 adults in, and it rounds up. So, like, for example, my unit had 5 that were elected. It actually rounds up and is telling me that I can put 4 adults in this year if I want to. So talk to your committees, see if there's anybody that you think would be worthy of being nominated and put in. And again, it's really not to be based on past service or experience or merit. It's more what they're going to do in the future, specifically, hopefully, for the chapter and for the lodge. So keep that in consideration when you are nominating somebody. But as Chip said, it would be great to have some more adults coming in and stepping up and being involved with not just the lodge, but even our chapter level as well. So I think that's all I have.
If you have an adult that cannot meet the requirements for some reason, I think every district has 1 slot a year that we can do that. So if you had somebody that maybe had a physical ailment and it just was impossible for them to maybe do the camping or things like that, see me, that is a possibility. It has to be approved by the chief fire, which is fine.
All right, Roger. Go ahead.
Very good, thanks. I think that there's an island on the Susquehanna River that nobody knows about that I'm going to claim. I can do that, right? Put a deed in for it. Is that how it works?
Fish Commission already did that.
They did? Oh, man. Look, I'm
There's
on.
a consultant for the surveyor that knows how to do it.
Oh, that's how it works, right? Okay, yeah, no, and that wasn't news to me. I had heard that. So it was mentioned earlier about QR codes. Everybody that's in the room, if you're a Scout Master, Cub Master, committee chair, you should have access on my.scouting when you go to your, where's that found, Carlos? The QR code. Is it membership manager on a unit?
Organization.
Organization manager.
Yeah, organization managers.
It's in there somewhere. There's a code and there's a link. So if you don't want to use the code, you want to use a link, that'll go directly to your page. When I did flyers for Cub Scouts this year, I put QR codes on all the Cub Scout flyers that went out into the schools. That way parents could just scan the QR code and go right to your sign up page. If you're not enabled for online applications, recommend you do that. You have to click that yourself to say, yes, we accept online applications. If that's off, it'll just say, get more info. And when somebody's interested in your pack or your troop, you'll get an email saying, hey, I'm interested in your pack or your troop. If you have online applications enabled, they might apply and pay right then and there and join your pack or troop, and you didn't even know they were coming. And suddenly you have a new member. So I don't think we've had a roundtable since the Klondike, right? We had roundtable, then Klondike, then roundtable. So I have the lost and found. There's a few items in the back near the roundtable bins. If you recognize something as one of your scouts, maybe your troop is missing a cook kit pot. We do have that. So if not, you can take it anyway. I don't want it. That's all that. But that was a great weekend. 300 of us were there at Hidden Valley. It was an excellent weekend, and all the volunteers involved. I think there were 40 some odd volunteers who helped make it happen by running stations, working the kitchen, the movie night, everything. So and certainly all the other adults who brought their scouts to the event and took them home and supervised them and had a great time as well. So thank you everyone for a great weekend. I thought that was excellent. Let's see, Twilight Camp. I don't know that we mentioned that. Did I miss that? So it's
Only as a function of Amanda getting this reward of merit. So
okay. For PAX, Twilight Camp is open. You can sign up for that. Have your Cub Scout sign up for that. It's 5 nights, 3 hours a night at Harrisburg Hunters and Anglers. I think it's like $100. Not sure exactly, but 90. Okay, so like 100 was right. If you wait too long, it will be like 100. Right, you'll get the late fee, and it'll be at least 100, I think, if you wait too long to sign up. It's relatively inexpensive and a great time for Cub Scouts. We've been having like 40, 50 Cubs coming to Twilight Camp. We'd love to get more like 70 or 80 Cubs coming. And we need adults to help out as well. We have a pretty good staff. We might need some den walkers. They're like den leaders that work with the Cubs as they walk around. And we certainly need den chiefs, scouts, 13 years old, 14 years old that may be helping at the areas. And they have a great time as well. They're like mini staff members, and they really enjoy that. We love having them around to help. Let's see, Facebook page. If you're not on the Facebook page or other people in your pack or troop aren't on, go ahead and do that. I mean, I was just thinking about it. Last night, once I was ready to click yes, go for the Merit Badge College at around midnight, I think it was. I put it right on our district's Facebook page. So if you were on Facebook and you saw that and you're like, oh, I can sign my kid up for Sit Nation, you got that because you're on Facebook. So be sure to like the Keystone Capital District Facebook page and share that with your other folks in your pack as well. Nick, did you mention we're up like 6% versus last March?
I didn't do him because he's speaking through most of the
program. Oh, okay.
If we could ever get to him.
Right. Nick will say that. Right. So with our recharters cleared and we lost, it seems to me we lost less kids this year than we lost last year. But that's also a function of people staying on through the year long from joining in August, September, October, November. They paid for the full year now. But we're looking good from March at least. Not so much in Scouts BSA. We have less than 400 Scouts right now in Dauphin County, like 390 something Scouts that are in Scout troops. So there's a nice pack of Weeblos coming up behind them. So we should be able to fill that through. But we've talked about it for years. That's that COVID bump that we're dealing with. We talked about camp cards earlier. I just wanted to share a little bit of my experiences with that. My son would do door-to-door sales, so don't forget that you can sell camp cards door-to-door. We did that in Virginia, much like we did with popcorn, and we would sell camp cards by ringing doorbells and just going to the next door. When we had a family that sold a lot of popcorn, and they sold camp cards as well, and every time I'd go around town, I'd be like, hey, it's the Laverdiers again. Look, I was at Lowe's, and, oh, the Laverdiers, they were selling popcorn, or they could sell camp cards. Michael's was another one they did, and Turkey Hill was another one that they did. I was in a pack that sold in front of the post office in Salisbury, Pennsylvania. On Saturdays, it was very popular. So you can find all these other locations as well, just to sell camp cards. Let's see. Den Chief training at the University of Scouting is not very well attended right now. We only have 2 in your class. We had 3 and 1 backed out. We can take up to 15. So if you have a den chief in your troop or that helps out in your pack, have them sign up for the University of Scouting, and they can spend the morning with Michael Sargent, who's running the den chief training this year, and take classes in the afternoon, things like Dutch oven cooking and trail cooking and things like that. So promote that. There's about a week left to sign up for University of Scouting, if I remember right. Let's see. Pinewood Derby is coming up March 16 at Holy Name of Jesus. I think that's the right date. So we have spots available for all the packs. So make sure that you have your Cubs sign up for that. I think we have 50, 60 racers right now and climbing. It's going to be a big event. So make sure that you get your Cubs signed up for that before it closes. We will take walk-ins, but it's certainly much easier to do it ahead of time because we